Hello, garden lovers. Come walk with me in my garden. It's very cloudy. The wind is picking up. We're supposed to have a storm for the rest of the week. So it's also, oh, happy May Day. It's May the 1st, and it's actually the end of May the 1st. So it's around after 7 p.m. So as you can see, it's kind of gray. You can tell that a storm is coming, and I'm not mad about it because we actually need some rain. We had rain last week, but of course, we're on top of the hill, so drainage is not a problem here. So we need more rain, and yeah, I can water, no problem about that, but rain is almost always better for the plants than our yucky water, which is fluoride and all that stuff in there. So let's just take a quick walk and show you the good stuff that's happening in the garden. Like I said, here on May 1st, 2025, Empress Wu hosta is huge already. I mean, good thing I didn't give in to planting. I actually have one heuchera. I have two over there. So I thought this rose campion is gonna be pulled out once it's done blooming because they're biennial, so they bloom in the second year, and then that would be empty. So I thought that this would replace here. So this is a timeless. I can't even remember what it was, but I have been. The other two is a timeless night, which is there's a timeless heuchera line. Oh, just stepped on something. So hold on 1 second. Let me see if here's my dahlia packaging. I received a dahlia from Dahlia House in Oregon, I believe, somewhere in here it is, Washington, and I already planted those. Where's my heuchera? It's not in here. Huh. Anyway, I'll put it in the description if you guys are really interested. It's a pretty, it has a silver tone in the leaves, if you can see, and I thought that would contrast well with that. And then to the side is this little just generic hosta, and then on this side is the twist of lime heuchera. So I can even put it in here in between the lungwort and the twist of lime. So maybe I'll just do that, and then I'll buy another one for next to Empress Wu. But that pulmonaria or lungwort will get big as well, so that probably would cover that whole area there, and then and also up to here, so at the edge of that. So I don't know what I'm gonna do, so I'm just gonna leave it there for the meantime, and I can feel the rain. So let's do a quick walk. So the ground orchid is still blooming a little bit, but it's still beautiful, and so it's on its way over. And then I think I haven't shown you guys this. This is the cast iron plant that I planted there. This is from the sale rack, Lowe's home improvement sale rack. And so that was, I think, $7 compared to $20. Thunder. So I planted that there for winter interest because that would stay evergreen. And so all the hostas are pushed out. There's my little mouse ears, which is a miniature. They it certainly needs some rain. It looks a little puny right now. Something ate it as well, probably a slug. So yeah, but the Hakone grass that I'm hoping would creep to, you know, the base of the urn and kind of sort of hide the base a little bit, which it will. That would get really big. I probably kind of constricted the space for that, but we'll see. This is a really dry garden, or dry shade garden, so they shouldn't be leaping out extraordinarily and become extraordinarily big. So yeah, that's that. And this, of course, is saving the garden right now with blooms, which they will go away when it gets hotter, which is pretty soon. And then that would go away as well for the meantime until the fall, and they'll come back. So right here I have some pretty new plantings. The Honorin Joubert is growing 3 times as big, and then this is supposed to be blooming red. I think I can safely take this protection out now, but maybe after the rain. So they're growing good. And then First Love Veronica, it's beautiful, is blooming, and there's 3 of them, and not completely fully blooming, but it started. It's beautiful, beautiful First Love, very fitting for its name. And then here, hold on. So this is the sunny border, and this tall St. John's wort is certainly growing nicely. That is probably on its 2nd year in the ground. And then the penstemon are happily starting to bloom. As you can see, there's plenty of stems with blooms, and that should multiply pretty quickly from here on till the end of summer. Well, not maybe end of summer, but midsummer. And then this let me give you a good view. This is just a pot I put together with honey, proven winner, supertunia, and then this just generic petunia of that color. I thought it was a good combination. And then all the yellows from the Gerber daisies. I finally took out the odd colored kind of reddish orange, and I gave it to my friend Angie, and it was in that hole right there. And then the peony from my passed on father-in-law's house is blooming. I only have 1 bloom. I don't see any other bud, but that's also new. The Spigelia is loved by the hummingbirds, and the dragonflies. I actually had a pair of dragonflies yesterday this time by the porch steps. The pair had white bodies and beautifully colored wings. And also, which I hope to get more of, is the foxglove. There's actually that one over there as well. So that's the view from over there where the penstemon is. And then I have that dead Eugenia. I left it there because I don't know why. I just wanted to get a replacement before I take it out, which is actually idiotic because it looks really bad. But hoping I can get a tree for Mother's Day to put there, so it will be permanent and it wouldn't be like an annual waste of money type of situation. And then also the Moonlight in Paris rose had plenty of blooms, more than compared to last year. So as you can see, the petals on the ground cover, which is thyme, and with a grass growing in the thyme, and then also those low growing salvias, which is kind of purple, and it kind of coordinate or match with the Gora, the pink Gora, which is the dark pink, almost purple as a matter of fact. So there they are. And then the pincushion flower, or scabiosa, is blooming its head off. So that's lovely. There's two blue in there and then the pink one in here. It happened that way because there were only two blues left and then there was one pink, so I just went with that. And then don't mind my yellow hose, but the generous gardener actually bloomed more than last year this time, so there's still plenty of buds, and I was surprised how big the size of the bloom has gotten. Last year it was a little smaller than that. I'm sorry, I have a black spot. And then the Amelia clematis that I made companion planting for the generous gardener is got one bloom, but I'm pretty sure it will continue blooming and continue climbing as well. And so on the other side of the bed, there's still hellebores in there, and then the verbenas are skyrocketing up and blooming. These native black-eyed Susans are about to bloom, and so that's a white ones salvia. So there's three of them actually. So there's one over there that is not quite blooming yet, and then that every time I video this plant, I always mess up the name. I always call it Palace Purple, but it's not. So, but it's something to that effect. But it's gonna get taller and then it will bloom. So it's gotten really big. As you can tell, it was small when I planted it, which is 2 years ago, something. And this is my new bed, which I haven't fully planted yet because I'm still looking for the right grass. I'm gonna fill this in with grasses. So that's it. And and this I guess I call this a Louisiana iris. So it's a small iris. It's used, I think it's supposed to be a water iris, but I inherited this from the previous owner. We've been here almost 30 years, like basically 30 years, and it finally bloomed on me. So yay. And then I can't wait for this weed, which is a nitrogen fixing weed, to bloom and maybe go with the white iris. And everything there is coming along, including the Japanese maple, the green Japanese maple, and the Agastaki. I think this is the Poquito orange, has gotten big, no blooms yet. And then so as the oat grasses, those these big guys right there. So there should be 3 of them. And then over here is the Caradonna salvia. It has really, really dark and long stemmed blooms, and that would, I imagine that would have been perfect for an arrangement, but you know, I haven't made an arrangement in a while. I just feel bad cutting some blooms from the garden. I feel like I'm robbing the garden. So there's 2 of them, and I tell you, Caradonna I purchased from Burpee Seeds, and it came like, I swear, it's probably that big. And look how big they got. And I got them last summer, and it just doubled in size. So I'm happy about that. Thanks, Burpee Seeds. And then the Helenium is yet to do something, but it's gotten thick as well. It was also very, very, very tiny, and so I can't wait to hopefully contrast that Helenium, which is orangey, with the dark blue Caradonna salvia. And what else is in here? The Limelight hydrangea is coming along, and there's the Verbena bonariensis. There's a couple of them in the middle, and then the Kaleidoscope Abelia is over there, just not blooming, but the Limelight or Kaleidoscope yellow and orange, which is mostly yellow in the summertime, this time, is kind of doing its thing as well. And so across, sorry, I was planting a straw flower and I left that topsoil in there. So I was planting this straw flower, and it's I don't know what color, rosy color. So I think I'm gonna get another yellow to kind of put it right there somewhere. So I would have 3. It would be 2 yellow and a rose colored, and then of course that iceberg rose. It had some black spots, so I kind of defoliated it, and bunch of blooms have already gone over, but there's still a few, and it's kind of nice, especially when we go to the other side, to see how it glows in this low light, like right now. So that bowl on the right was my succulent bowl from last year, and this is growing rampantly in my garden. I've had this sedum for years, and they just, like, you know, if it breaks off and they just grow and multiply. But the other sedum didn't make it through the winter, so what can you do? That's what I got. It's beautiful nonetheless. It's blooming right now. And then there's I think this is a Nepeta nana, which is a very tiny, as you can tell with the leaves, Nepeta, and it's blooming. I planted that last year as well. And then that's the yellow colored leaves, butterfly bush, or butterfly bush. It's miniature, so it's low growing, and to balance this kind of fat, it was that size. It was the size of that yellow last year, and it liked it there, I think, under the rose. And but let me show you the rose, because it's my pride and joy. I planted it last year, and on this estate sale find obelisk, and it's just, every time I look at the window, it just catches my eye. It's so beautiful, so languid in the obelisk, like she's the queen. And in fact, she is. She's been blooming its head off since February. And then this grass that was halfway eaten by the horses recovered so much. So it's beautiful. Oops. Right behind the iceberg. And then I experimented with ranunculus this year, and I got one bloom, well, two actually, and then which this one is already finished, but it was dark, and then the rest of them should be blooming, if not, probably next year. But here's the other view from this side of the Sweet Francis rose. It's a gorgeous one. So if you're looking for a, a little rambling rose, Sweet Francis is very prolific bloomer, and like I said, it's been blooming. I have been deadheading this as well, and I guess all the rain and all the compost that I put in there. See, I just deadheaded this 2 days ago, and then there's plenty in it again to do. But hold on, let me just get this damaged leaves. And to accompany the Sweet Francis rose, I have, this is the butterfly garden, by the way. So I have this golden Alexander for the caterpillars. You can't have butterflies unless you have caterpillars. So you kind of have to give them their host plant, meaning it's where they become caterpillars, eat the plant, and then, morph into a butterfly. And over here are my experiments from Walmart. This is a Liatris, which is I got in a bag for like $5, and there's got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there was 20 in a bag. They're everywhere. I just planted them where, I think I need some filler or something tall to kind of poke through, through the plants. And this Gora, like I said, has tripled in size and is about to bloom. And I think its name is Stiffy, like short for Stephanie, Stiffy White. So that's gonna bloom, and there's 3 of them, one over there, and I don't know, I can't see right now. But anyway, this is another golden Alexander. It's kind of hard to see. And it's done blooming. And there's also that daylily, which is a bicolor. And then the Shasta daisy, which is kind of, it's not the typical old-fashioned. If you can see, it's kind of fringy, the flowers. So that also tripled in size, and there's another one up there close to that sedum. So yeah, so that Veronica there is called Candila pink. Candila is a Spanish word for candles, so pink candles basically. And then there's the seeds that I have sown for different variety of aguilegia, and I have seed heads because they were full of flowers, which is the kind of dark purple. I think it's called Barlow. And then I should have whites and other colors in there as well. I just threw the seeds in there and I didn't even know that they just took off and took over. They were just seeds from last year basically. And so coming along, that's the twist of lime, heuchera in there. And then I planted some dahlias, like where this stake is, and one over there where the other stake, and then this one right here as well. And then the other two is in here somewhere as well, the one that just arrived from Washington State. So this one I planted, which is fennel, I planted for the caterpillars, which I had a couple of caterpillars already eating. I'm trying to look. Eating it and, moved on. And all the hostas in here also are looking good from its slumber, winter slumber. So they made it through the winter. Granted, I thought they weren't going to make it because I planted them late in the summer in the heat. There's a hosta in there, but that clover is going to, it's like an ephemeral, so it's going to go away once it's done blooming or it gets hot, and then you can see the hosta better. I got another of these blue fescue. Look how cute the bloom is. I only got one, but it stayed evergreen through the winter, so that's why I'm gonna slowly get more, maybe 5 in here. So over there, maybe 2 over there, and then like I said, I got one today because that was the only one. And then this hosta, I don't know what happened to it. It was late to pop out or pushed out, and then and there it is. So maybe the rain today, tomorrow, and the rest of the week will kind of revive that. And this is the pansies are still going by the, my goodness, how big that guy is. How many's in there? I thought I only put 1 in there. But anyway, it's nice to contrast the green of the daylily. So, and also, I also throw a bunch of seeds, nigella seeds in here. Only one kind of bloomed or came up, made it and bloomed last year. So that one bloom made all this, and there are a couple out there in there, and then they made it in here as well. There's one sort of behind there, if you can see. They just popping up everywhere, which I'm so glad and happy about, because like I said, it was from one flower last year. And there's the 2 candela, or the pink, in English, pink candles. Veronica is sort of looking like my first love, the other, in the other bed. And there's that Shasta daisy that is actually I'm gonna say that's a germander, I can't remember, but it's the first time I planted it. It's an herb. Let me see if I can show you the flower. because it's beautiful. It looks like a geranium, but I have to look it up and put it in the description. So I'm gonna say the blue flower in the butterfly garden, and I put the name. And then that's the Carolina, Arizona blue cypress, and hopefully that would be my winter interest in this butterfly garden. And there's the other Gora, which is so fat and happy. So yeah, that's the butterfly garden. So I'll swing around and go back and show you the apothecary garden, because I am still mesmerized and shocked by this David Austin rose that I had in a pot for 3 years, and then late summer last year I took it out of the pot and put it in here in my apothecary garden, and it just took off and it bloomed so much. I actually already deadheaded this last week, so it has long canes, and I cut that off when I was deadheading, so to make it more bushy and full. So but it's still blooming. It's like it never bloomed like that when it was in a pot. It would give me like 1 or maybe 5 blooms, but look at this, full of blooms for this one growth. And then and then I think this is Roseanne geranium, the hardy geranium, and I actually have some over here, the one that broke off from the main plant, so I planted it here along with this nasturtium that I put the seeds in, I don't know, a week and a half ago. So they're coming along, and so they're gonna fill in that old wheelbarrow. And then here they're mostly black-eyed Susans, different variety. This one is the Prairie Sun black-eyed Susan, that is just like some yellow variety, that yellow variety. And then over there is a tall variety, the Fulgida, I think is the a Latin name, Euchera fulgida. And then so then I have those tall weeds that I just left them there because they were pretty. They're like the wild buttercups that's all over the field over there. So yeah, they're actually taller, I guess, because that soil is full of compost. And then there's most of these small perennials in here are sale perennials at the end of season, the end of summer sale from last year, and they are such troopers. They made it through the heat wave that we had and the drought, and they stayed evergreen through the winter, and then come February they just burst into blooms. So proud of them. And and I didn't even spend a lot of money on them. They're basically $2 a piece, and they tripled in size. And so yeah, and that is actually a black-eyed Susan of some sort. I hope it's like the other one, which is very colorful, not just yellow. And then this is a hyssop for tea. And then my camellia plant doesn't look really good. I don't know, I have to do some research and take care of that. And then my Emily rose that in honor of my youngest son's girlfriend, Emily. She's so sweet. And that rose is it looks just as sweet. And I already deadheaded that. I think it had about 6 blooms. And so I was deadheading, like I said, at the end of last week, and so I have 2 blooms, but it gotten big. I got it bare root from Antique Rose Emporium, and then this one is just a native Agalija from the local nursery. So yeah, but last weekend, and we went to an estate sale, and my friend Angie insisted that she got one as well. I'll get this cattle panel and make it into something to grow plants on. And I wonder, so this is just trial, it's not even secured. There should be post to hold this in place, so there will be two in there and 2 on the other side. But I thought I would spray paint this first black and the post black, and maybe grow some clematis or black-eyed Susan vine, or even a small rose to just grow on the side, you know, like a little climber or rambler. So I don't know, but I just put it in there, and hopefully the storm wouldn't take that down and damage the plants underneath. But so yeah, that is basically everything. Still doing some work in the garden, lots of work, and then also some family events, and so it seems like I'm not getting anywhere in the garden. It's, you know, it stays the same except for you know, whatever is blooming here and there. But I'm not complaining. You know, life is good, and all the plants seem to be looking happy from all the rain that we've been having in this spring and late winter. And so I hope you're doing well. I hope your garden is happy. And so I'm just gonna end this video here with this Dichondra Falls, which I am so happy I was able to find, because it was kind of popular in the nurseries. I'm saying nurseries. Put them out and it would just be gone within hours. And so the iris is blooming right here with this blue container, with this Paul's gold Chamaecyparis or false cypress. And so I can't wait for that to grow a little bit longer, so it would contrast well with the gold. And unfortunately that iris is almost gone over, so that would be it for it, and I'll just have green clumps of irises all around it probably. And so over here on the other side, the same thing, and only there's no irises at its feet. So maybe I'll plant some in there. We'll see. But in this stump right here, I planted all around it some morning glory, the white morning glory, and they hadn't come up yet, so maybe that rain will kind of help them come up. And so yeah, so I will leave you here, and until next time, dear garden lovers, I hope to see you soon again down in the garden path. Bye.